All of these people are genuinely disconnected. They don't understand that my message makes people feel better. I teach men to be strong. I teach men how to make money. I teach men how to be confident, how to be motivated, how to be disciplined, how to be diligent, how to be hardworking. If a man adopts these qualities and applies them to his life will get better. This isn't a matter of just consuming content on the internet. This is a matter of people's lives genuinely changing their day-to-day reality. If that happens, if somebody's day-to-day reality changes because they're a fan of me and they listen to my content, who do you think you are to come along and tell them to stop and go back to misery? It's never gonna work. It's never gonna work. And the reason I'm so heavily demonized is not because of the things I say, it's because I am so massively influential. And when I'm teaching these young men, these young boys to have any degree of standard for themselves, any degree of parameter for what they will accept inside of their minds, they see that as a threat to the slave programming. If a man stands up for himself and has self-respect, he doesn't want to wear a mask because he respects himself. He doesn't want to take antidepressants. He respects himself. He doesn't want to eat the bugs. He respects himself. They don't want men to have self-respect. We're not allowed to have self-respect. We have to sit there and be completely empty vessels waiting for the slave programming to be plugged in, so we'll comply. That's all they want is compliance. And that's why me, as a man who stands up and says, listen, you should become as strong as possible, you should believe in yourself, you should be motivated, and you should also try to make as much money as possible, because money is a very important weapon in the fight against slavery. I am seen as public enemy number one for genuinely improving people's lives. That's how evil these people are. Strong men make women happy. I get called a misogynist all the time for telling men to have standards. Men with standards and principle and capability and competence make women happy. The number one way to improve female mental health is to make men better men. And the reason they don't want men to be strong and have any kind of control over their relationships or their households is very simple. Females are easier to sway with an emotional argument. If you have a bunch of households which are run by women and the woman is in charge, and then the woman is going to sit and watch an emotional argument, propaganda, which is all that the MSM use, they can't use logical arguments, so they use emotional ones. Put the mask on for grandma. Well, grandma's 98, and 98-year-olds unfortunately die of diseases. And telling a 6-year-old kid to put a mask on, or a 21-year-old strong man to put a mask on because 98-year-old grandma might get sick, doesn't even make any logical sense, but it's an emotional argument, and women fall for emotional arguments easier than men. So how do you control a populace? It's very simple. You subdue the men, you make the women in charge, you make a matriarchy, and then you use emotional arguments via the propaganda mechanisms, because women are more likely to agree with them, and then you have the entire population under control. That's why it's done on purpose. They don't want a man to have any degree of control over anything in his life. You know, even his own house. You can't even be the king of your own household anymore. And it's making women miserable, it's making men miserable, it makes the entire populace miserable. And there's another thing I want people to understand. Misery is also a very key component to their slave agenda, because when you're truly miserable, you are selfish. You don't care about anything that happens outside of yourself. People say that you and I perhaps were angry people, but I'll tell you something, we're positive people because we care. We care about what happens to our country. We care about what happens to our cities. We care about what happens to the future for our children. When you're truly miserable and truly sad, you're self-obsessed. You don't care about anything but yourself. They want us all miserable on antidepressants, eating the bugs, watching the TV shows. Because then when something happens down the street that's not supposed to happen, we don't care. Oh yeah, well, the store down the street got robbed and my town's on fire, but I'm sad anyway. They want us all selfish, because when we're selfish, you can't band together to resist anything. Because without a border, you don't have a legal system, you don't even have a nation anymore. You want to talk about rape without consent? You absolutely utterly nailed it. And they use this word and they use this attack on any strong man primarily as an effort to damage masculinity. They make it out to the world that if you're a man who is traditionally masculine, who stands up, who is strong, who is not apologetic for his opinions, then by extension, you must be a rapist. And they do this so that men are afraid to act this way, because that, once again, pushes the idea that men should be sissies and soft, so it's easier for them to have slave-minded individuals. What's actually crazy is this. Women want men who are masculine. The kind of man who is not going to rape is the kind of man who has choices and genuine access to females who love him. Why would a man who is successful in all realms of human endeavor, including his relationships with females, ever rape anybody? No, I'll tell you who's a rapist. The liberal who eats the bugs, who's fat and ugly with no personality who's sad on antidepressants. No woman wants him. He's the kind of guy who has to rape to have sex, not the traditionally masculine, toxically male, the man they try and say. So it's absolutely and utterly, it's a mind attack. It's a psyop by saying if you stand up and you have muscles and you have a nice car and you're rich and you're strong and you have opinions and you say, yeah, this is what I believe and I'm not sorry for it, that means you are a bad person and by extension a rapist. And what they're trying to do is stop men from acting that way. They want all of us afraid. Without fear, none of this works. I think it was Goebbels who said it. I don't know if your research team can find it. Goebbels said it. You lie and you lie on repeat and you make them afraid. And that's all you have to do. Nazi Germany literally said the exact same thing and look what they did to the world. And it's amazing that the tactics haven't changed. The apparatus, the MSM hasn't changed. It's the same game. It's exactly the same game it's always been.
We are grooming the new generation of Americans to be fully embracing of diversity and inclusivity.
And for the children and the people that support it are going to realize that this is going to be the grooming of the next generation.
That's the whole goal, is to make kids that aren't used to seeing something like me more comfortable to seeing it.
No one's there to push an agenda on anyone. No one's there to persuade people or to recruit people.
Who wants to be a drag queen when they grow up?
You could be a drag queen superhero.
Learn to love, learn to vogue, face your fate. We'll convert your children. Someone's gotta teach them not to hate. We're coming for them. We're coming for your children. We're coming for them.
And we're now building two camps. We have the camps of losers and winners, and the winners are telling the truth, and the losers are just adopting all of the slave mind programming. And unfortunately, it's becoming more and more dangerous now to even say the truth because these losers band together like hyenas and attack anybody who stands up and tells the truth, like they've attacked you and like they've attacked me. The people who are trying to put me in jail are not good people. They're not good people. They're not honest, hardworking, God-fearing people. They're evil people, and they know exactly what they're trying to do. It's scary. Well, that's the thing, because they want me to cower or cuck. What they're trying to do is, because I inspire so many people, if they can break me, they can break the souls of millions of people by extension. And also what they're trying to do, they're hoping that I will believe I can reason with these psychopaths. I don't think I can reason with people who hate me. They hate me. They hate everything I stand for. They hate the way I walk. They hate the way I look. They hate the way I think. They hate my ideas. They hate my relationships with my brother. They hate my friends. They hate everything about me. I have no interest in trying to reason with them. I'm not going to stand up and say, well, maybe if I talk a little bit softer, they'll be nice to me. No, I don't operate under that frame. It's like Churchill. Churchill said, no, we're not going to negotiate with Hitler. There's no point in negotiating with this man.
Have you ever been to the gym and seen a person in fantastic physical condition? They're strong, they're ripped, they're large. And you say to them, how did you get so big and strong? And they say, I don't know. Oops, it kind of just happened. Or have you ever found a really rich man or a very successful man and said, how did you become rich and successful? And he goes, I don't know, bro. I just woke up one day and it kind of happened and now I'm living my dream life. No, there is a very detailed plan and roadmap. For you to become strong, you must eat a certain way. You must train a certain way. For you to become rich, you must earn money a certain way. You must understand exactly how you're going to make money, whether you're going to be a public-facing figure like me or a man of the shadows with millions of dollars. Unknown, but extremely powerful. You have to design your dream life. What house are you going to live in? Who's your woman going to be? Is she blonde? Is she brunette? What car are you going to drive? Have you even gone on the internet and spec'd your car? You can design your dream car right now for free on the internet, and you can choose the color, you can choose the wheels, you can choose the carbon. Is it a Lamborghini? Is it a Ferrari? Is it a McLaren? How much does it cost to the dollar? You talk about your dream life. You don't even know what your dream life is. How do you expect to get to a destination when you don't know where you're going? Do you understand? I designed my dream life long ago, before I was known, before I had anything. And I worked very hard with a very concise, very detailed plan to ensure I ended up exactly where I wanted to be. And you're not going to end up where you want to be if you don't know where it is. So, for that reason, I want you to submit to me your dream life. I want you to be as detailed as possible. Do you have children? What house you're in? What your woman looks like? What's her personality like? Where did you meet her? What kind of person is she? What car do you drive? Who are your friends? Who are your network? What kind of men are you hanging around with? How are you making money? Are you known? Are you not known? What is your ideal job? How much money do you want to make a month? How much money do you have saved? You have to understand exactly what your dream life is. This is more than just an exercise in understanding how to become a successful person. This is an exercise in life. Without diligent planning, without concise, compendious plans, the chance of you achieving nearly anything is zero. So for that reason, I'm asking for you to submit to me your vision for a dream life, and I will tell you if you stand a chance of achieving it.
The reason young boys listen to me is because I have a private jet and a bunch of fancy cars and a big house. The reason I can inspire young men to get up and work hard and be diligent and be hardworking and disciplined is because I have such a fantastic life. If I didn't have these things, they wouldn't be inspired by me. And money is what it takes to win wars. What are we sending to Ukraine? Money! We're sending money. So to sit there and say as conservatives, we shouldn't be materialistic, you're just buying into the garbage that the left want. They don't want any of us to have any kind of finance. Because when you have no finance, it's easy to bankrupt you. Listen, Alex, when I was the most Googled man in the world, do you think I were approached by a bunch of mainstream companies? I'm the most Googled man in the world amongst one of the most profitable demographics on the planet. Young men from 15 to 35. I was offered $30 million, $25 million, $45 million to sell my soul, to shut up about certain subjects and be sponsored by X company. I was offered unlimited money to be quiet, and I said no. Why? Because I already have money. You can't buy a man who already has money. And that's another thing they're very afraid of. They're afraid of people who are self-financed. That's one of the reasons they're afraid of Trump. He doesn't need your stupid donors. He doesn't need your garbage. He has his own money. And that's another thing you have to be very, very careful of and understand in this war. It's a spiritual war, but it's also a very financial war. They want the conservatives flat broke, because then there's very little we can do. They're at war against us. What is the primary objective of war? The primary objective of war is to destroy your enemy's capability to resist. That's the only objective. What is war? I must destroy my enemy's capability to resist. It doesn't matter if you do that with a Tomahawk missile. It doesn't matter if you do that with the stroke of a pen and a law. It doesn't matter if you do that with a mainstream media propaganda machine. By destroying your opponent's enemy to resist, your capability to resist, that is how you win a war. So when they're trying to make us depressed and weak and stupid and ignorant and fearful, they are destroying our capability to resist. They are at war against us. They don't need to shoot us with guns to be at war.
That's right. Their number one mission is to make us...
I do believe that there's been a shift in consciousness, and I do believe we are winning. However, I can give two answers. I can give a very positive answer, and I can also give a pessimistic answer.
No, give us both. Give us, because that's the way the world works. There's always two directions.
Yeah. So, my pessimistic answer is as follows. I believe the people who are in charge of the world are genuinely in charge of the entire world. I believe they set up structures to allow one populace to benefit off the exploitation of another populace. I believe that the populace which is exploited is usually the most ignorant one. And I think that as we awaken and as things shift, and perhaps we don't adhere to the type of life they want us to live, as we become a thorn in their sides, they're going to rewrite the rules, and instead of exploiting other countries for the benefit of the West, they're going to start exploiting the West for the benefit of other countries, and they're simply going to shift their global finance, and they're going to shift their base of operation.
Totally agree. Reverse colonialism.
Reverse colonialism. They have no problem watching Africa burn for Europe to get rich. And most people don't understand, they also have no problem watching Europe burn for Africa to get rich. They have no problem flipping the script. They have no problem letting Europe burn. They let it get rich off Africa. Now they'll let Africa get rich off of burning Europe. They have no problem with that. And reverse colonialism, I think, is something that's really going to happen in the next 20 to 30 years. As we wake up, and as we don't want to adhere to their garbage anymore, and as we have higher standards for ourselves, they're going to sit and go, these people think they're smart. Okay, we'll make them the serfs, and we'll just build up our lives somewhere else, in Asia or the Middle East. I think the Middle East is going to be the most powerful area for the next 50 to 60 years, personally, is what I believe. But I think that's the pessimistic answer. The positive answer is, ultimately, I do believe we have control. I think the population has control. I think that the closer we get to sensibility and truth and honor is also the closer we get to God. I think that when enough of us band together and resist, it doesn't actually take as many people as you think to inspire the general population to stop adhering to these slave principles. And I do believe that a new age for the West is coming. I think that we are in a much better position than we were 3 or 4 short years ago. But I do also think a lot pins on 2024. So it's very interesting, the situation we're in. It's actually very interesting. And I really hope when people watch me, what I truly hope is, because we all live different lives and we have different life paths. And I think that the truth is always somewhere in the middle. I'm not saying I'm 100% correct. And I'm not, I do believe my enemies are 100% wrong. However, the truth is always gonna be somewhere in the middle, and I like hearing different opinions. I love hearing people who disagree with me, who agree with me with a slightly different caveat, with other points to add. I think my primary objective is to inspire people to stand up and speak and be unapologetic in what they believe, and to make sure they work hard enough in life and go through enough pain so they've learned enough lessons so their opinions are not just waffle, but they're based on real world experiences. And I really hope everyone at home watching this feels better afterwards and understands that we only live once. And on your deathbed, you're going to regret all the things you did not say. I don't think you're going to regret the things you said nearly as much as you're going to regret the things you did not say. And you're also going to regret all the times you did not take the brave choice. If you're not sure what to do, you should take the brave option. And I think on your deathbed, you'll always be glad you were brave. And I have that peace in my heart, even when they throw me in a Romanian jail, that I know I always took the brave choice. I never took the coward's way out. I never took the easy way out, because that hurts your soul. And you're not just a person, you're also a spiritual being, and you need to do things which benefit your spirit. And it's amazing what a spirit of fire and genuine capability gives you. It's something which is tangible. It can be seen, it can be felt, it can be heard. And that's all comes from doing the brave thing. So I think that I hope everybody at home feels energized. I hope they make the brave choice. I hope they believe what they say and say what they believe. And I hope they stand up for themselves. And I think that alone, along with belief in God, is enough to fix many of the problems we're discussing in society today.